It's still early, only 6 games in. That has to have a cumulative level of frustration that you just don't want even this early.
You know, typically after a game, the guys come up to me and they'd say, "What did you think about the game tonight?" And if I was giving them an honest description of what I thought I saw, it looked to me like at the end of the game, there was no chance this team was coming back. They just didn't have it. It looked to me like this Ranger team was playing like they thought they beat the Devils, like they thought they got 4 points in Pittsburgh and it was going to be easy to roll into Buffalo and take 2. And it wasn't. And you look down the lineup and there's guys like Panarin and Zibanejad and Strome and D'Angelo that had career years last year. And I'm sure if I was on this coaching staff, my concern going into the season would be, is a career year like that's the best you've got, or are you going to back it up and do it again? And we haven't seen enough from those guys yet. And this team can't survive without them going. Panarin, for instance, in the beginning of the third period, he lost the puck 3 times. He didn't fight to get it back like he did last year. You know, I want to see that. You know, that's where you start to believe that a comeback's possible, a second and a third effort. And that's what hurts guys the most. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, I've been there as far as not happy with myself, just even looking at myself in the mirror after a game where I didn't like the effort that I gave. I could lose if I left it out there. But I think a lot of the guys right now will be very disappointed and frustrated because they didn't leave it out there. And that was noticeable. And that's why I didn't think they had a shot at coming back in this game. It's a 3-2 game that I wasn't holding my breath at the end of the game thinking they were going to come back. I didn't get that sense, and that's not good, especially now that you are where you are with 4 losses in a row.
Hockey cliches, sports cliches are such because they're often foundationally factual, and oftentimes you hear it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Tonight might be an example of that because the Rangers had a good first period. 6.5 minutes in, 6.5 seconds left in the first period, and the Rangers escaped the first 20 with a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and like, okay, some good things that you can take out of it is that Blueshirts is still playing well, and he was put on that line to get Kreider going and to get Zibanejad going, and he got Kreider going. And I thought he did a really nice job here reading on the forecheck and then driving the play, and he's back-checking here, and this really qualifies as a back-checking goal for me. Goes off the skate of Kreider as Buchnevich reroutes himself. He's so mindful of his surroundings right now, and it's great to see him play with this confidence. He looks twice. Now, this is a dead play if Zibanejad crashes the net and Buchnevich tries a wraparound. But what he was really doing was just waiting for Kreider to dive down as that F3 and look for a passing lane. So I like it on a lot of levels, John, because we're starting to see something move forward here. And then at the end of the period, you've got the 4th line out there, Lemieux and Blackwell pushing hard down the ice. Smart play again with the cutback. This is more of what you want from your 4th line. Extended zone time. It's not a one and done at the net, but keep that cross-ice pass into the corner alive so then you can get Strome on the ice. He's coming off the bench. You've got guys open. And Miller gets his first NHL goal. And if this is a bright spot to build off of for him, you know, you got to feel great for anybody that gets their first. And he gets it in a really nice game condition. It's unfortunate that he doesn't get to keep the puck and take it home with a victory beside it. But, I mean, that's a tough one. Of the games we've covered recently, that was the one that really stings the most because the effort wasn't there.
Well, at 2-1, you figured, okay, see what happens in the second period. Can they maybe use that as a catapult in the middle period? The only 2 goals of the second were scored by the Sabres. On the night, Buffalo had 2 power play goals and a breakaway goal that was 1 second away from being a shorthanded. So that's, again, a level of frustration from the Rangers, who outplayed the Sabres 5-on-5, but still don't get any points.
Right, and like, okay, the NHL keeps their stats a certain way. Ralph Kruger is going to credit his penalty kill there with a shorty. I mean, that's what they do. And well-deserved, too. However, not a great read for the Rangers defenseman on the first one. I mean, they're out of position. We've got DiGiuseppe here missing the slot coverage. Too much time, too much space. Sticks weren't in good position. D'Angelo's not backing up Trouba as he jumps down the wall here. Those guys hurt one another because they're looking for offense when they should have still had a defensive mind. And it's the fact that, look, if you look at every goal, every play, there was slot area chances because the player that was going to the puck first didn't have his stick in proper position. There wasn't tight coverage, definitely wasn't communication. and guys weren't working off each other. They couldn't have looked worse and more disjointed, really, if they'd tried, I thought, on the PK tonight.
Speaking of chances, the Rangers had some, especially in the second portion of the third period, because the first 7 minutes of the third, not much at all. Then the Rangers realized the urgency of the situation. They had quite a few chances to score right down to the last 2 seconds.
And the young guys were going, right? That was probably Lafreniere's best chance as a Ranger so far. Right in front of the net, Kakko had an opportunity. Guys were jumping, but I still didn't feel it because it just wasn't enough. They weren't doing it together enough. You know, these were sort of one-and-done plays in front. Kakko gets a backhand here. It would have been great to get the opportunity to go to overtime, but you know what, Johnny? Like I said off the start, I just didn't see it happening. It just didn't seem like the Rangers had the win to do it tonight, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's going to be making excuses event if we're going to get into that, because what are we going to talk about? The travel from Pittsburgh was too tough, or, you know, I mean, what?
Yeah, travel's not a storyline.
You know, there's nothing. It's not a back-to-back. You know, there's just no reason for it, and I'm surprised by it.
Yeah.